I do want to look at the poll question real quick before we continue further on. So, are you currently developing a non-viral delivery vehicle outside of LNPs? We have about 62% saying no, but we have actually a pretty decent number, 40% are saying yes. So that's pretty great. And then number two, all right, which non-LNP, non-viral delivery platform are you most excited or interested about? It looks like we're kind of split here. We've got polymers, polyplexes coming up at the top here with about 30%, lipid polymer combos, 23.5, and we've got EVs bringing it up with in third place, and peptides, ligands, 17.6, and viral-like particles close to 12. So, are there any gut reactions there from the panel? Is that surprising to anyone? I know, Sean, you're kind of in the top ranking here.
I'm not surprised.
Anybody?
Not it's me.
You're like, this is great news. Does anybody else have any gut reactions based off of that? Does that kind of track with what you would be thinking about the breakdown of the industry, what you've been seeing? Or do you think there's more interest in something else in your own vehicles?
I mean, I think it parallels kind of the breakdown in the amount of investment that we see across the industry, right?
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of people are working on
Mm-hmm.
synthetic delivery vehicles versus
Yes.
Cell-based delivery vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that
Yes.
it parallels interest per se.
But the challenge, right, I think is interesting. And that's something that I want to talk to you and Gloria about, particularly, I think, later on in this discussion, because that is a really important consideration. But cells are really good for doing certain things too. So we can't necessarily ignore them, right?
So are viruses.
Yes, viruses are great. They actually are. They really do some wonderful things. So I believe all of you, right? Again, we're kind of coming at this from an industry that's very fully focused, I would say. A huge chunk of the industry is focused on LNPs. And so we know what LNPs are good at. We know what LNPs aren't so great at currently. And we really do need to see some diversification there. And so I'd really like to get a sense from each of you, given the data development thus far, where does your chosen delivery platform, right? Where does it really shine? Where are you finding that what are some of the benefits that it brings to the table that LNPs don't per se, right? And this can be in terms of the clinic and perhaps too as well in terms of quality or manufacturing. Where are you seeing it really kind of differentiating itself from what we could consider today the standard vehicle? Melissa, you're big on my screen right now. So let's start with you and then we'll work our way through.
Yeah, so I think for our non-LNP delivery vehicle, which is, again, the engineered viral-like particle platform technology, I think that a lot of the advantages that we have is that it's a very modular technology. We can change very easily a lot of different components for our particles. We can enable cell type specific delivery by changing out the envelope proteins or adding different targeting moieties onto the surface of our particles. They're enveloped particles. We can easily swap out the cargo that we're packaging. We focus currently on packaging, again, RNPs for the purposes of gene editing. We can also package RNA and DNA. We have not seen any drop in ability to package any of the different types of cargo that we have.
I was going to ask, if you felt it was capable of doing all of a master of all.
We've optimized our loading strategy to load our cargo into the particles as part of the production of the particles from the producer cells, and so we've seen really great kind of potencies when we switch our cargoes out. We have focused primarily on targeting hematopoietic cells in vivo, so largely hematopoietic stem and progenitor cells, some B and T cell work as well. And really, it's kind of it's a good entry point into targeting cells in vivo because they are readily accessible with IV administration of your product, and you can kind of easily perturb the cell populations within the blood with different strategies. Some people do mobilization. There are kind of prophylactic treatments that you can provide to skew the lineage of distribution. And so that's where we have focused, because we know that our particles actually kind of inherently avoid the liver.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so we're able to get relatively high levels of editing efficiency in those targeted hematopoietic cells. I think I'm forgetting kind of the second half of your question because there was a lot loaded into there, but I think
like scientifically or even from a development standpoint, do they, what helps them stand out from LNPs? I mean, this is obviously cell based, right? But are there, manufacturing efficiencies that can be realized here, or anything else that kind of makes this a really exciting delivery vehicle for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that EVLPs are very powerful. I think, you said it before, we need a lot of other delivery technologies if we're actually going to impact, the broader, human health and disease outside of just LNPs. And that's why we're all here and doing this. EVLPs have the advantage of being extremely modular. They are incredibly potent, incredibly stable. We can easily load a lot of different cargo types, which means that you can do a lot of different things with them. And we think that we have strategies actually to be able to control the dose that we would have to administer of these particles as well, which ultimately is going to translate to a COGS advantage. And certainly cell-based manufacturing is a challenge, right, relative to synthetic manufacturing. That said, it is doable. There are plenty of examples of things that are made with cells that are broadly distributed at this point.
This is, yes.
and or being developed, right? I mean,
NABs, anyone?
Well, and in vivo lenti, for example, right, is being explored for CAR T.
Just takes time. Yeah.
Exactly. And so these things are scalable. I know it seems scary, and it's definitely a black box relative to all the work that has gone into LNPs in the past, but we're going to get there.
I think that's a big piece of it too, right? There's only so much investment, so a lot of people are going towards what has been, right? The risk has been sort of ironed out a little bit more, but
exactly. And they're going to have different risk benefit profiles, right? LNPs again are super great at getting to the liver, and if you want to get to anywhere else,
you got to find something.
Design away from the liver, and liver tox is a huge potential risk for a lot of delivery technologies, and we don't think it is for ours. So that's also a benefit.
Absolutely.